YouTube. YouTube.
No.
Test.
No.
Test.
No.
Test. Cosa avevo fatto?
Microfono. Controlla il microfono. Controlla il microfono.
Ma è uguale.
No, vai a controllare. Non è detto.
Ancora.
Sì.
No, funziona.
No, perfetto.
Funziona. That was me talking to my wife about, the technical issues and stuff, and this is Purple Wabbit, and this is Diablo 4, and in 8 minutes and 54 seconds we're on a world boss. As I tried to say in chat, let's make a clan so we can claim like first world boss kill. But it's like, yeah, people already killed it. Yes, but not as a clan, right? Technicalities make the world go around. But hello, welcome. If you're watching this, good things. What does what's her name? That girl from YouTube Crime does. Have a nice day. I hope you have a nice. I don't remember it. I usually remember her intro. Have a nice day. Don't show hate, especially down here in the comments. All of that stuff. Subscribe. Don't. Nobody cares. Whatever. Anyway, so Diablo 4. Open beta, early access. There's a world boss coming, and there's people gathering around for it. So as you can see, and there's this little eye where we're supposed to, I guess, come from. Yeah, so but I'll kind of talk for the next 7 minutes until this happens of my impressions and stuff. I already made a video of the wizard and stuff. It's more like what I think of other reactions. I'm happy about the game. I think I mean, yes, of course, it's an early access open beta. Even it's not even the open beta yet. That's tomorrow, I guess, or is it today already? Anyways, the point is that yeah, there's of course there's going to be some little things that are still not as polished, and so I found that some of the community's reactions were a bit displaced, unfair, whatever. I don't want to, you do you, I do me, or I'll do my cat. I also talk for her, but that's so. But I wanted to react to some of these comments. For example, Mr. Llama, he's a YouTuber who would make guides for Diablo 2 farming runes, especially. He's kind of the map guy. He and his friends, or whoever, I don't know, his gang, and they're coders. His gang. I mean, I don't know if he's in a gang. I'm not saying he's the gang. But yeah, that's his thing. Maps, right? They look at him like kind of science, and they try to find the best ways to navigate into what is a random setup and get you to the level 8 as fast as possible. Just so the 8th level of that structure. And yeah, if you know Mr. Llama, you know him. If you don't know him, you don't know him. But that's the point. He's known for that. He's done that, and he's good at that. He's like the go-to guy if you want to find out how to farm runes in Diablo 2. And he does that by looking at the map, random layouts, right, and figuring out the general concept of how they designed the map. So he's going to tell you if the door is spawned on the left side and you have a door behind you on the left side that looks like that, that means that the entrance must be either there or there, so you just keep turning left and left and left, or something like that, right? So his approach on Diablo 4, of course, his first comment was about maps. Fair and square, I'd say. But he's like, so what he was on about is that he didn't like that, or he said okay. So you see all these gates around here. These are dungeons, and they all scale up with your level, right? So level 1, level 2, it doesn't matter. You go in there, you do them. And yes, these are the random dungeons, and yes, he's right on what he says. But there are also the quest dungeons, which are also very different and very specifically tailored with different boss fights. And I think those will be like more uh, the end game structure. They seem like higher content than 4 minutes still. Than the randomized dungeons, which still can change. And he was just saying that all of these he did like 30 dungeons last night, and that's a new mate, by the way. No harm intended, but if you're hearing this, yeah, these maps like have the same quest layout, so. To open them, you have to clear out 2 areas, and then you open up the next area, and then you go and kill the boss. And he was a bit sick of that. He wanted a bit more diversity in map, etc. But I think there is time and space for that. There's time and space for that. This is an open beta, so that is kind of, there's all of those maps are very cool. I think they can change them. They're already very diversified. They were showing the art that there is. Maybe the actual quests, those are actually instanced, so they can change, without having too much problems, I guess. This leads me to another thing he was saying, I guess. He wasn't happy with he called it the UI. I think the UI is the whole thing you have around, which, anyways, but I think he meant the character panel, this thing here, whatever you want to call it, and he doesn't like it. I'm fine with it. I mean, this is a minor thing. They can change this as well on a word. 2 minutes till the world boss. So you'll see the dynamic grouping as well. Nobody is in group until now. I don't know about anybody. We've chatted a bit, but these people can disappear if we walk away. Anyways, I had some realizations. One was maybe that there's a lot of, I mean, like the poison bubbles are a lot more nurgly, and there's a lot of blood for the blood god, if you know what I mean, theme, and there's kind of these things. So it borrows a lot of elements from that world, but I kind of think it's kind of interesting that Microsoft is coming into the game. It's buying Activision, so I don't really see Games Workshop having a go at bullying Blizzard like they did with all the YouTubers. Have a laugh on that if you want, but in the meantime, I was more concerned about immersion, or things that relate to immersion. We've got 1 minute, so let's make this fast. This is about the fauna and the mob density population, right? So in this area, you go around and you're already finding werewolves everywhere, and there's packs of 10 werewolves every 20 meters or 100 meters or whatever. And then you're going around in the other areas and there's zombies everywhere and like that. So I think if it was like that, it would be more like, my imagination goes more toward, I don't know, Walking Dead, Apocalypse. And it does have this theme, but it still like seems like society is functional. The towns are kind of functional. So there's got to be some farmers around that at least are managing to go around. And if how it's presented, there's basically, it's like going around at Glastonbury. There's, you know what I mean? There's more population density in the wilds than there is in the main street of a capital. So
there are so many ways I could kill you.
Follow me.
There are so many ways I could kill
so and that takes away the immersity. I think they could, make packs of 3 or 4. There could be more wolves and animals, instead of using immediately scary monsters, because this takes out the immersion. At first I was like, well, this isn't as dark as people say, and then you go into certain place and it's dark as F. I was actually hit by it, and to tell you, if you don't, I liked Death of Hope, if you know 40k and I read. So, and it's kind of, some things are that dark, so it goes dark. It's just not everywhere or in your face, not in the environment, but then it does the whole mob density population is. So we have a world boss. Let's kill it. So the spin went out. I like that. Ooh. Ooh.
I need time to prepare that. I'm not ready yet.
Haha, I evaded that. And I did not evade that. What do you mean you have no potions? We used them all, that's bold. Don't we get any new potions? Am I gonna die? I did die. Oh, I died. Like those other people, they're ghosts. Revive at checkpoint. Where's my checkpoint? Let's go. Oh, that was a waste of mana. Oh, okay. And again. So let's say it's not even 25% damage. I think we want to get as far as possible. It's poison, that's why. How do I not get poison? Staying far away.
I'm not ready yet. I need time to prepare that.
Is he reviving me? Yes, thank you very much. So we're not even at 50%. It's fun, I'm liking this. Oh no, 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 no. Let's rest this guy. Okay. And let's put that Hydra, which I think is the best approach to this. And the Blizzard, and then I'm out. Hydra.
I have no potions.
What do you mean you have no potions? Go get to that potion, go get that potion! I couldn't skip that. Okay. So the way that they're rewarding having a bigger team, so also bigger players carrying other players, they said they wanted to do this.
I need time to prepare that. I need time to prepare that.
Is that close enough to do damage? My Hydra's still up. Okay, refresh Hydra. It's all good. Let's get out of here. I like the music. Oh, I missed him. Thank you.
I'm not ready yet.
Damn it. That's weird. No? Maybe. Okay, I'm walking back.
I'm not ready yet.
No, res me. Thank you.
I'm not ready
Oh,
yet.
seriously? Come on. It's very nice. Thank you very much. No. Very nice.
Well done.
I'm impressed. Thanks. Impressive.
Reward unlocked. Prepared harvester. Player titles. Where are those? Why? Total aspects. Codex of power. So this is giving us unlocked stuff. Yay! Let's look at him. Let's have a look at this thing. Oh, it just went away! Let's look at what items we got. This, no, it's not better than what I have. Is this? Yeah, look, that's so good. What's this? Level rating required 14, level 2. So we'll change this. Just assume it's better, it's not showing it. Now we have a new gown. Okay. Skirt, gown. Yeah, fine. Wait, what? Taking and I don't care. It's not like. And this stuff. What does this do? Damaging an elite grants you a barrier, and you take 20% from crowd control, but vulnerable. Okay. I like damaging it. barrier. Is it different? So this is a head slot. Ah, I like it. These I like. Or okay. So I was talking about rather than population density, yeah, population density and fauna. I think the game would benefit a lot if that's my take. Especially the starting zones had more critter-like mobs, enemies, instead of using right away the assets of the darker things, right? So I think that for starters there should be, well, werewolves that are fine, I guess. But zombies and dead skeletons, there's way too many. It just it breaks the immersion, and not only from the main world map. Which I'll get there, but just let me build it up, and it's relevant to immersion, and especially how much you perceive the game as being dark or not. Because initially I was looking at other people and before the beta and stuff, and my first reaction to the world map is, yeah, but the palette isn't that dark, and this like kind of maybe the themes are and stuff like that, but it doesn't. It sort of seems, I don't know. It was giving me this feel that it wasn't that dark, and kind of people want this game to be dark. I kind of want it that side. I'm not saying I just want it dark, but yeah, well, I want it more on this, on the, let's say, on the pathos that was given with the cinematic, the intro cinematic, the trailer, that thing there, right? That's quite dark. So, and if you're giving me that as a selling point, that's already defining the niche, right, in a certain area. Which is kind of the argument, like, well, then you're not going to put unicorns, right? Well, they did in Diablo 3, so I don't. But that's not the point. The point is, yeah, it kind of suffers of this thing of, in the opposite way of the Diablo 3 unicorn thing, that you're going around and there's these assets, I call them assets, but monsters like skeleton zombies and stuff like that are just everywhere. So it seems too much MMO tailored, and drags you out of the narrative. Cannot character. It's anti-immersive, let's say, counterproductive in terms of immersion. Yeah, something like that. So if the mobs in the outside world, especially where it tends to be you do find dark events and they are cool and stuff like that. I'm just going to use dark like that, okay? It's a thing. Yeah. But if they were more scarce, especially the monstery and scary things and stuff like that, when you actually see them, they take more value for what they are, right? So if you were walking around and in nature, sure, it's dangerous. There's wolves and beasts and bears attacking you, which they are, but there's also not this. And we don't have a problem anymore of population density competition with other players, because everybody is instanced once they leave a common area. And these common areas are very small, so your loot on the world map is always there. Your NPC, your spawns on the world map are there just for you, except some that can be shareable, and even then you only share them if somebody else is interacting with the same thing. If he passes through and goes away, he doesn't. It's not part of his. It's temporarily part of his what you call instanced game, and he goes back to his, and you're free to, and it's your map still. And it's very dynamic in which the map transitions from these places where it's yours and where it can be shared. And it's not, because I don't want to use the term it's not yours, but because it still is yours. It becomes part of both instances. of the instanced players, but just that area, or only until they are like in proximity of party stuff, which works very well, very dynamically. But this is to say, and go back to the theme of the dark and the density population and NPCs, is because then the game is very dark. There are moments in which even in the world map you're like, okay, wow, that's just happened. And even the art in the more generic places and dungeons, which isn't as tailored like for the story dungeons, they're pretty grim, or very they're in their theme of Gothic and Celtic and abandoned. There's lots of dead skeleton things, sacrifices, but probably a bit too much of that. Like if it was going on like that, society would not only be like in the collapse, it would be not functional. So it's kind of like there needs to be somebody farming around and being able to do normal things for everything and else to work. Kind of, and this is immersion breaking in terms of what it does, because it's not like the things are not there, because then when you go in the story dungeons, the not the architecture, the design of the sceneries, the art of the sceneries, the same concepts of the sceneries are dark, are awesome. They're done very well, and they're pretty dark and stunning in that sense. For example, like this is a common theme in fantasy and things, and it's like walls of floors of flesh and decomposition and things like that, or blood. Here it goes with the theme of blood, as you've seen with Lilith in the trailer. If you haven't played, I'm not going to do spoilers and just concepts, but so she uses blood to create new matter in the world. So wherever she goes through, all the architecture, all the sceneries are kind of like, they start having this growth of this kind of fleshy thing that she is made of. And her horns are kind of a theme for a lot of the these artistic sceneries, like, and they're very cool. I think they're very well done. They deliver the dark and all of that, and also in how the story and all is given. But it gets ruined by the fact that by the time you get into these places, you've already seen all these NPC skins, mobs, assets, whatever you want to call them, of skeletons and etc. And so on. They're used too freely. Right? That's what I'm trying to say, and that's why it would benefit to put more critters as enemies on the map, on the world map, than there currently was. This is something they can change very easily with just changing PC spawns. So there's that, and there's also how many there are. Like there's you're finding groups of 10, 20 enemies. I'll kind of show you what I mean when you walk through like this. So you're walking through areas, and sometimes there are empty areas, but sometimes there are places where there is the mob density. Every one of these, every connector dot, every opening has basically a little spawn of mobs, which tend to be in groups of like 10, 15 or something like that. We just transitioned, but that's one thing for now. That it might be more with. That's something that's solved easily, and it's more related to latency, I guess. Server latency also, but yeah, anyways, that's not what I'm trying to say. Here seems, I don't want to go into a world event, I just want to caravan under siege. You can take care of your stuff, I'm sorry. I would prefer more zoom out, so yeah, here it is.
I'm not ready yet.
So there's like this dead, destroyed caravan, a dead horse, these goblins you saw, it was a group of 10. Okay, we found another one here.
I need time to prepare that.
And here there's more. So, you know what I mean? You'd be like walking in the middle of an army. So if there were instead like less mobs and less of them when I mean, how do those deers look at this?
I'm not ready yet.
I mean, in the span of 3 openings, we've from here to here we fought like 4 groups of goatmen, goblins, skeletons. And that's just this tract of road, right? Which I don't know how long you want to imagine it to be in. It's immersion breaking, which is not a problem, but it would be even more realistic if it was like a pack of dogs or just wolves or you know something on those terms. But even if you make those NPCs less and a bit more tough and award the same amount of experience, especially in the leveling, I think that would be more serving towards what the story does without interfering in any way with the gameplay of who just wants to gameplay. And but because you wouldn't be also just farming trash mobs, world spawn, trash spawns, not in a denigrative way for the trash NPCs, because it's 2023, nobody wants to offend anybody. Don't be offensive and don't show hatred, especially in the comments down here below, etc. But that's what I kind of trying to say, that if there were more like, even instead of goatmen, like dogs, wolves, bandits sometimes, and there are bandit NPCs, just more of them. To you, I'm dragging this on, I am. But you probably got what I mean. That's what, and I think it's kind of important, because then you get to the story moments, and I really loved and appreciated some of the art and the ambience there and the mobs and etc. And unfortunately, they lose weight very soon, because there's too many of them, and you've already seen too many of them, and they lose pathos. Pathos being like a Greek word for strong feelings in theater. I don't know how to say it. The drama. Yes, that's the exact word. I think it's like in terms of narrative telling, right? You've made all this drama and immersion of, for example, the story that you're following, etc. It's compared to, I was looking at the character, that accompanying character. Not going to spoiler it. I'm just compared to Leah in Diablo 3. And Leah's story is pretty dark and grim, and she's not, and she doesn't get away easily in the end, if you know the story of Diablo 3. In Diablo 3, Leah is a character, an NPC character that accompanies the player in the story, and at the end of the story she gets possessed by Diablo. So, oh, spoiler. Well, it was, it's 13 years old now, so I guess it's not that spoilery. If you didn't know the story of Diablo 3, that's what I mean. But, so Leah's dialogues with the player she doesn't seem particularly affected during this. She's kind of saddish sometimes, but the tone of the, let's say, the voice actor doesn't give it this. And more than the voice actor, I think it's a question of the dialogues, how the dialogues are written. They're trying not to make her too super depressed, I guess, which is a term that is now a thing. And like, little shout out from 40k Dante, but so, and here the accompanying character, which is also, not going through a particularly whimsical story arc, say whimsical or well, it's not a Luna Park ride. She's not having fun, right? So, and she does actually show and manifest reactions that are attuned with what you'd expect somebody going through those things to feel and say, right? And just not all happy and cookies and rainbows and stuff, right? Or politically, not politically correct in the terms we see it, but adequate answers to everything, or emotionally acceptable reactions. Yeah, I'm making this complicated, but I think you get what I mean. The narrative and the characters are more in tune with the feeling of this thing, but it loses its momentum by contrast with the rest, which being tailored more like I don't know, it feels more like a World of Warcraft map than a Diablo map. Have a drink. And I think it's a pity because it ruins all the immersion that developers have clearly gone through the trouble of going through, and you see it, you appreciate it, the art is there, the narrative is cool and stuff, and so on. I'm not going to go into the story, that's a different thing. I'm just telling you what the looks of the art and sceneries and interactions with NPCs of various sorts sort of are in tune with the mood of what you'd expect the game to be, or what this game says to be or claims to be, right? Grimdark, let's say. And what I'm trying to say, it is that grimdark, and even more sometimes. Like, let me tell you a quest that stunned me. I was like in town going around, and a lady said, like,
too cutting, even for these parts.
Well, this one looks dark enough. So I was saying, let's see what happens if I do that. Oh, nice. I mean, that wasn't that Disney-esque, but there were worst side quests. Like, I found myself trying to help a woman whose husband had run away with another villager, female, and she wanted me to go out in the wilds and see if I could find her husband, bring him back. So I go and I'm walking around the forest, and I turn around a tree, and like, for example, these sceneries. What's that? Challenge elemental. Okay. And there's a guy who's chained.
Spread nothing but death.
Oh, that
I'm
shield.
not ready yet.
Fighting leads from around. Oh.
I need time to prepare that.
And there's this guy who's basically chained to trees with various chains, and he's being utterly skinned. So his all his interiors are basically, and he's still alive, right? And then you go on with the quest. You come back and you finish it, and you leave him there, and he's like just you take out a knife, and he's like just gutting himself all over the place. And the effect is both over exaggerated with the gory effect, which still make it funny, but as well pretty gory, yeah, and dark. So the game has that theme. It's clearly and obviously there. There are just some things that work against it, and I'd just say that if they'd fine-tune these things better, that it would deliver a better game. I guess it's not too much into the current gaming culture to sort of attune the NPC population towards narrative goals rather than immersive immersion storytelling goals rather than farming things and etc. But especially for launch, you can tailor these things for specific moments of the history of a game or even regions, and you can tailor the actual, I don't know, maybe you could even, since it's instanced, you could just, if people who want a story mode and something like that more immersive, they can control the population and reduce the NPC groups to 3 or 4 NPCs per group instead of 12, and they can be, I don't know, have more HP and reward the same kind of XP that they would otherwise. It's just a graphic representation of how you get that XP, right? And so I guess it wouldn't work towards things like kill 1,000 goblin achievements, but maybe some people don't care. And the people who are more into, I don't know, getting those achievements and farming and grinding stuff and getting reputation and renown or whatever it's called, and want more population density for the sheer, I don't know, renown, reputation, whatever you want to call it, that it awards you. Fine, just then go into your settings and increase the density of the population and stuff like that. So and this game is showing to do a lot of this specific tailoring towards the player, as you've seen in the world boss fight. You get grouped synergetically with people, you get degrouped in this also smoothless way. If you walk away from them, the game is still retaining all your personal information and your information of where you not where killed mobs, but if, I don't know, you leave a drop somewhere and you walk back there half an hour there later, it tends to be there, I've noticed. I can't tell you the rate of despawn stuff, I haven't noticed that, but and maybe if you transition between certain geographic areas, it also, I don't know, re-instances, so maybe you lose those items or not. But from what I noticed, if you go back, it tends to keep those things there for quite a while. So you have the impression that this is your map, right? So that's kind of what am I trying to say? It kind of works, still works in terms of both ends of the player base, let's say spectrums of the player base, if you can also tailor how the NPCs appear in the world and the numbers in which, and maybe a bit more of a selection of which kind of mobs appear where. I think this was well done in Warcraft, and yes, people are. It goes back to the trope of, and I'm there, I'm supposed to be a hero, and everybody's talking to me as a hero, but I'm there just killing 5 puppies or bear puppies or stuff like that. Well, maybe don't make me kill cats, or even there could be quests where you have to kill cats from an infestation. But no, I love cats. Yes, no, I didn't say that, Jez. I'm sorry. Yeah, no hate towards cats, not even for fun jokes. Not. Yes, I get it. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. Fine. That's my cat. Anyway, but so you're not killing mobs that seem defenseless, but maybe a pack of rabid dogs or stuff like that. No hate towards dogs. Yeah, I know. Okay, let's go on a different. A pack of wolves, with no werewolves. That's what I'm trying to say. Not wolves, just wolves or polar bears or like something. There are polar bears. Just do those, and some bandits somewhere sparingly every once in a while. Don't waste all your assets of this. This is what I mean. Yeah, these things are everywhere, and they kind of get boring. Not boring soon. Boring is not the word. But kind of stop noticing them very soon. That's what I mean, because so this would be more dark if it was not as common as it is. I think you just tend to come every camp you come across. It tends that is not a settlement, habitated, inhabited settlement of some sort. Then everything is just blood and sacrifices and skeletons everywhere. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm all down for this theme. I really like these, like this acid or a skeleton stuck in ice is cool, and these spiked people, they not that I like them, but it has its uses, right? And it's just too much everywhere, and too much as well. So what I'm trying to say is I stop. It's not that I don't like these assets. I love these artistic assets and scenery assets, or whatever you want to call them, art. But you stop looking at them very fast, because that's basically, they're everywhere. You get the impression that that's all there is, and there's not. I mean, I think the world is beautiful. Then you might say, oh, but then it doesn't have this Diablo look. It doesn't need to have the. It doesn't need to look like a war zone everywhere, because if it does, it's you don't notice it. It just becomes like, death and destruction and dysfunctionality everywhere, and sacrifices and blood on the floor, and like then you go into Whimsydale and there's ponies, and you're like, oh yeah, bears and unicorn stuff, and you're not even noticing it. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say I'm not appreciating all this. I'm trying to say that if it were balanced.
The energies are flowing into this creature. I must end the ritual.
Yeah, it's good. But on a different note, for gamers, as you can see, I think the sounds and the feel of the gameplay is very well tuned. And, well, and if you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh well, it looks a lot of the same of what I've already seen in other games and stuff like that, well, maybe, but
I'm not ready yet.
that's good. More reasonable.
I need time to prepare that.
I like the A typical display of the castle's cruelty, these villagers were used as part of the ritual which destroyed their home. Okay, there's no to that. So I unblocked. Shortcut.
I need time to prepare that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the gameplay is very smooth, and the quality it's more of the same I was saying, right? Of what I've already seen in the previous Diablo games. It's even the same skills and same
I'm not ready yet.
interface and etc. Yes, but it's very, very smooth and dynamic. So, for example, like games like Baldur's Gate, the new one, etc., and stuff like that, and yeah, anyways. They are more stat-based and less special skill-based. So the way Diablo 3 has come to work and the way this is coming out is a lot of choosing your interface and then having these limited skills, so fine-tuning them and changing them with sets. But as you've seen in the world boss fight where I was dying a lot, you need to be very mobile. Right, and I don't think you get this in games like Baldur's, the new Baldur thing, Baldur's Gate, where they're almost more. The fights are almost more like the chess fights, right? Some of these games actually go into fights that are actually instant fights where you're moving more, you're choosing your skills and turn-based, etc., like that. And the fact that Diablo isn't, and the fact that you have this interaction with the skills, it makes it a lot more related to the environment that you're in. So you have to move around, you have to avoid, duck and dodge enemy attacks and stuff like that. So, and that is the way Diablo 3 has been come to play, and I think it's kind of like what you expect from Diablo. It's more, I like this thing of not just being there of, once you just, okay, these other games I was talking about, they kind of like you bring your stats up to a certain, and that just makes you good to go. It's a more Japanese approach, I guess, to Japanese or Asian approach to video games, and like you're getting the gear, you're leveling up. Once you've done that, you've done it good. This is more about how you choose your skills, what items you find to create whatever effects, and then actually being decent at using them, or not being decent. It's not like you have to be a good gamer or not, and nobody's judging you if you're not. I'm just saying that I'm certainly not, so and so you sort of, it's more fun to interact with this world this way, and have the stats and the gear and the background that have a real effect on these things, because they actually condition how you run away. If you're having a build and gear that is rewarding your use of teleport and combined skill, for example, which is way Diablo 3 works. Now, if, for example, and I guess this is where they're going with this, you're tailoring all your gameplay towards that use of those buttons, those skills, and it will condition how you use it. And if you use a different build that is using different skills and stuff like that, it changes how you're going to have to move around, etc. And that is cool because it makes the game a lot more related to the environment that you're actually seeing, and not just stats and numbers that are represented from skins. Okay. So I like that part of Diablo, of course, and the way they've evolved this is not copy pasting it from Diablo 3, or I mean, it's a better evolution and a fine tuning of all they've learned there. And if you don't like Diablo 3 because you haven't, and maybe you haven't played it in the last 5 years, the last 4 years or something, I think it reached more maturity, let's say, as if it was wine. But but it's very fun to play. It works very well. I think the sounds and the effects are even more synchronized with the player actions, keyboard interactions. So it's very. I can't but use the word dynamic, but it's fun. It works well. So keep that in mind. I'm more on this side, going back to what I started saying at the beginning of the video, with my reactions to other people's reaction. Going to my take on Diablo 4 so far, considering this is an early beta, and nothing is, the people are seeing this too much as set in stone and taking too much of what this is as the structure of what endgame is. And to be fair, we haven't seen gameplay of endgame. Maybe a glimpse of it with this world boss fight and stuff like that, but aside from the activities that you will do, how you'll actually do them and stuff like that, right? It plays very well. It's very smooth. That's what I'm trying to say. There are things of the world, of the immersion of the narrative that I might have done different, like I said in this video, but they can still tailor that and etc. So, and it's even, it's not like it's already out there, etc. This is still in beta, so it's still in the works, probably. They can still change it. I'm trying to say. And I found that a lot of the reactions were more because the reactions also need to be put into context of deciding if the game is interesting, worth or playing more than one playthrough or stuff like that, which is, I guess, what the community is expecting from Blizzard. And I think that the structure for all of this is there easily, well in place and all of that. Then everything else can be sort of fixed and stuff. And it's not even as if this is not working or broken and does need fixing. It works very well. There are things that can be fine-tuned, but it already has that quality signature feature that we did once expect from Blizzard. So I don't know what the other guys are doing around with the other games in Blizzard, etc. But the things they did with Diablo 4, they let the guys that in the team do it, and they probably want them to deliver something that is for the gamers and not the bankers to appreciate, for reasons also of PR, let's say, and all of that. So they gave them I think more freedom or something like that to actually do the game they wanted to do, and not always have a banker and a marketer interject on the storytelling and stuff like that, or the drop rates and something. Somebody who doesn't know anything about them, like asking, but like the lawyer telling the game developer what he has to do. I don't think that's an unrealistic scenario. So I think there's been less of that than usual, especially for such a big company. I think we need to start also considering Blizzard for what it is now and not for what it is, what it was 20, 30 years ago. Also, because I mean, you can't judge them. For example, a person that is in their 50, you can't judge them for. I'm not saying how they behaved in their 20s, but it's not an accurate way of um, expecting to understand their behavior. If you knew a person when they're 20, for example, and expect them to behave the same way 30 years after, you're not 20 anymore. You're not going to be doing the same things, you know. However you put it, however you stay the same and true to yourself and all of that, there are things and circumstances that have just changed. You're not the fresh kid on the block anymore. And they are kind of the big player on the block. You know, you need to act like you are not the new player in the team of the football team, but like the guy who goes and scores for the team and the captain, and everybody has expectations for them or something like that. I'm not trying to make metaphors, but I'm trying to say these guys have been around for a while. They're a big corp. They do all of that as a big corp. They don't. They're not. Yes, and they're still innovative in that ways, but we need to remove from our judgment and our expectations of what Blizzard is the fresh factor. They're the new kid on the block. They're not the new kid on the block. And this game, however, is delivered with a lot of quality and not as if it was the new kid on the block, not with edges that have been cut, and things like that. And what I'm trying to say, as an open beta, it's already very polished, so don't worry about it. Having said that, it's been a 1-hour stream. I've talked all this time, so if you're not bored of me, I am. If you sticked around so far. And if you have, thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Say what you want. Have fun. Have a nice weekend. Hope you enjoy the game.